Good evening, everybody. We're here at the Villagers for Trump revival, and it is a great crowd tonight. We're going to be spending some time with them, and we invite you to come along with us as we learn more about what is happening in northern Florida and President Trump's return to the White House.
I don't know about you, but a fella comes out here in a revival tent and sees Jesus behind him. You can't help but be humble. And that doesn't happen to me often, I have to confess. It is great to be with you. It is great to be with you on Super Tuesday. 13 states, 2 caucuses in Alaska and Utah, almost 900 delegates at stake. And President Trump, it is widely believed and asserted by him that he is going to sweep every one of them. And when he does, we're going to have us a revival, I guarantee. A revival in so many ways, because this president is not only the man we have to have as our 47th president, he is the only man, in my opinion, who can save this constitutional republic. And I am delighted to be with the Villagers for Trump, committed to exactly that outcome on November 5th. So I want to say, first of all, thanks to you and to all you're doing for him and for the country. God bless you. I also want to talk about a little bit about why he is the right man in this moment to save this nation, which is being assaulted from all quarters, culturally, societally, politically, geopolitically. We have foreign enemies, we have domestic enemies. We are a nation whose way of life is under attack, whether it be the CCP and China, whether it be Iran, whether it be the Marxist Dems who control the Democrat Party and who are responsible for 9 years of political persecution of Donald Trump, and who are the ones who have imprisoned 1,200 of our fellow citizens who were on January 6th demonstrating in support of Donald J. Trump. It's hard to believe, isn't it, that we have our fellow citizens in a gulag that is named after the nation's capital, the DC gulag. It's hard to believe that some of them haven't had a trial date set and others haven't had a trial yet. More than 3 years later, more than 3 years after their incarceration, after being oversentenced and overcharged and absolutely brutalized while being the hostages and the political prisoners of the Marxist left. This cannot stand. And it means that we are in a battle, in point of fact, between good and evil. I reduce it to that because that is what it is, in my opinion. How can any Marxist Dem, whether it be Joe Biden or his masters who control him and this regime, how can they look themselves in the face and know what they've done to the American people, to the J6ers, to all who are standing against an open border and the deaths of over 100,000 Americans every year because of overdoses of fentanyl? How is it we can accept that level of collateral damage to live our lives in the greatest nation on earth? What they have done to this nation is to despoil this nation, all of the values that we stand for. And my apologies to any Democrat here. I think you're in the wrong tent. This is a time for everyone to understand as best we can what is happening across the breadth of the nation, whether it's California, whether it's Washington, D.C., whether it's Florida or Maine. Speaking of Maine, we know now, thanks to the reporting of Peter Schweizer, the author of the terrific book, Blood Money, that the Chinese have sent Chinese nationals into the state of Maine. They have created 300 marijuana grow farms, 300 of them, in the state of Maine alone. And that marijuana that they are growing, with their cultivating and packaging, and after they process it, they are including with it, at no extra charge, deadly fentanyl contamination. 300 farms in Maine, and there are thousands of those farms across the country. Also, in most cases, manned by Chinese nationals who are crossing our border right now, our southern border, by the tens of thousands. Is there any question about why Donald Trump is the right man at this moment? He is the only man who has secured this nation in recent memory, because this president, Joe Biden, is an illegitimate president. He won. You and I are going to be talking plainly tonight because it's time for plain talk. That's who we are as Americans. There was a time Americans were known for our ingenuity, our innovation, our stamina, our energy, our work ethic, and being plain spoken as Americans. Irrespective of your income, irrespective of your profession, your vocation, your part of the country that you come from. All of us were plain spoken at one point. But something happened on the way here. And that something was a media that decided that it would obfuscate rather than illuminate. And then they decided that they were so successful at that they would line up with the Marxist-STEM ideology espoused now in our public schools, our universities, our colleges, corporate America, and of course in our politics, and they took over the Democrat Party. It's been a process that's taken place over the course of 30 years. 30 years, and we are now at that point, the inception point for what will be the rebirth of all that America is. And it depends entirely upon whom we elect as president on November 5th. And there is no question, I can see in this audience, no question about the fact it must be Donald J. Trump. I want to catalog, if I may, a couple of reasons why I'm delighted to be in a revival tent talking about President Trump and politics with people who are members of Villagers for Trump. And that reason is very simple. The reason is because there is a revival broadly underway across the country. We're seeing it right now on Super Tuesday. As more people are voting across the country, he will be short, by my estimates, by about 70 to 80 delegates after the night is over. Then Thursday, we will see America Samoa vote. That's another 9 delegates. And then on the 12th, we will see 4 states, and there will be a couple of hundred delegates at stake, and that will push him over the 1,215 mark next week. No one, in my opinion, deserves this unanimous, basically unanimous nomination on the part of the Republican Party. No Republican, no Democrat, no American running for high office has ever had to contend with an opposition party that has become the enemy. The Democrats are not just a loyal opposition. As a matter of fact, there's nothing loyal about them. They are not simply opposing Donald Trump. They mean to destroy him, the Make America Great movement, and the America First policies and agenda that had restored this country until a rigged election in 2020. As you may have heard, I've gotten into a few arguments with the establishment, with a couple of networks, with a couple of White Houses. But there's an old saying where I was raised, there are some fights worth having. And folks, we're in a fight worth having and worth winning. Think about Donald Trump. Under federal indictment, 4 of them. He faces 700 years in prison. They've been at him from the time that 2015 he became a candidate for president. And why is that? The reason is he wasn't a part of the establishment, even though he was a billionaire. He wasn't simply a member of an affluent class, the billionaires. He was first and foremost a patriot, an American who cared deeply about this nation, what it stands for, the American way of life, and surprisingly to many, particularly on the left, the Marxist Dems, he cares about the American people, working men and women, the middle class, and their families, because he knows that that is where the American dream burns brightest. The middle class of this country has always been assured, until now, that they and their children will have a better life as they work, as they go to school, and as they become productive members of our society, our free society. Liberty is not just a word. We're a nation that is, we talk about freedom of speech. That's being denied us right now. We're under assault, whether you're going to a school board, whether you're going to a city council meeting, you can be earmarked by the loyal opposition or members of it because you have a different view about transgenderism, or whether you have a different view about diversity, equity, and inclusion, or ESG, or critical race theory. You can be labeled an enemy because you have a dissenting voice. And this has never been the case in this country, ever. And never to this degree have men and women, citizens all, been targeted by their government, a weaponized government, a government weaponized by the Marxist Dems to do exactly what they're doing. They've thrown 1,200 of our fellow citizens into a prison, a gulag in DC, the nation's capital, because they mean to intimidate you and me, all of us. And you know what? To a degree, it's worked. The American people are intimidated. They're afraid to stand up and say, in many communities across the country, I will vote for Donald Trump, because they don't know exactly what their neighbor is going to do. They don't know what the thinking is down the street. And let me tell you, I don't think there is a higher badge of honor in political arenas than to say, very simply, I will vote for Donald Trump because he is the only man who can save the country. We're going to continue in just a moment. You thought I was out of thoughts about this? My. We'll be right back after these words from people who understand the importance of freedom of speech. We'll be right back.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented my pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your My Pillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
mypillow.com.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your My Pillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
mypillow.com.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your My Pillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
mypillow.com.
So, folks, I want to turn to, again, a couple of elements that are important to think about as we talk about November 5th and this election and the now assured winning of the Republican nomination by President Trump. We are watching the greatest political comeback, in my opinion, in American history. This is a man. No court out of over 60 cases would take the evidence of voter fraud, voting fraud. They would not take the case in 2021 whatsoever. No standing, no jurisdiction, etc. The evidence was not presented in any of those courts, but the left, of course, talked about it being a concluded issue. It was a settled matter. And by the way, anyone who wanted to relitigate 2020 was really off base and just simply suggesting our government wasn't credible, did not have integrity. Let me be clear. That government was crooked as it could be. It was as corrupt as it could be. And the one agency that had that responsibility under the Department of Homeland Security to assure the integrity was the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency. Think about that. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency. There's so much security just in the name, you feel better, right? They lied, and they lied within 6 days of the 2020 election. They said it was the most secure election in our country's history. They did so knowing that Iranians had already stolen the identity of 100,000 American voters. They knew better because they had eyes on all of the systems involved in voting. They knew the vulnerabilities of every voting machine. They knew exactly what was happening at Google They knew what was happening at Twitter. They knew that conservative voices were being stamped out in the run-up to the November election. They knew it was rigged because they were part of rigging it. And why is it the national media doesn't want to talk about that? Well, they're planning to do it again. It's that simple. They have no other way to win. President Trump, as I said, he's carried off the biggest comeback in American political history with a nomination. This will not end there. He will win the presidency of the United States. He will become the 47th president. I don't think anyone should misunderstand that, but it is conditional. And that is only if you and I and our fellow citizens make certain that we are engaged in our communities, in our precincts, in our voting polls, our election polls and precincts, as watchers, as Republican volunteers, whatever the role you want and can get, please engage, because with our eyes on them, they will be less likely to get away with anything this time. That's our job. And I commend you for taking up that challenge, because we're definitely going to need it. These people are not, as I said, simply the loyal opposition looking for a strategic advantage. They mean to crush Donald Trump. They mean to crush you and me. And there's only one way we can respond, and that is by turning out to vote, making certain that we're having a strong and clear voice in our communities, and reminding everyone what America First means, what populism means, what making America great means. By the way, I'm a populist, I'm a conservative, and I am an American First citizen. To me, there are two tests that when people say, they react to me saying I'm a populist. Populist in Latin means the people. I'm for the people. I'm proudly for it, and so is President Donald Trump. My only question is, if you want to argue with President Trump about being a populist, he's for the people. Just who in the world are those people arguing with him about being a populist? Who are they for? They don't say it out loud, do they? And when he says he's America First, I can remember the shudders that went through the first debate. My gosh, Donald Trump said America First. Oh, that's outrageous. He also insulted a few people on the stage, too. And I had no problem with that either. If you're not America First, just what in the world are you putting first and ahead of America? We found out, haven't we? As we proceed toward next Tuesday and his winning the nomination, President Trump is going to be assailed as never before. If you think it's been tough for him, his family, to this point, it's only going to get worse. Jamie Raskin, Congressman, Democrat, Rabid Jamie. I see you know him. Senator Raskin saying now that the Supreme Court has ruled that these absurd, demonic Marxist Dems in various states wanted to simply wipe him off the ballot because of an insurgency that wasn't, and he was not an insurgent, but that didn't matter to them. He was never charged with insurgency. They didn't care. He was not in any way convicted of anything, but they were willing to deny the law. They deny the Constitution and to deny even the sense of righteous justice and law and order. That's what they're doing in every instance, through lawfare, through the attacks on President Trump, on you and me. They have a border that is wide open. How did that happen? It happened because Biden decided unilaterally, to be specific, his Marxist masters decided that a 2,000-mile border with Mexico, the Border Patrol would withdraw. and they turned it over to the drug cartels. Communist China sending fentanyl to Mexico, working with the drug cartels and shipping it to our communities. And too many of us have already experienced what happens with that addiction for fentanyl, for other deadly drugs. And the Chinese are waging a war. It's a war of, it's a chemical warfare that they're leading. I think people could argue that certainly the COVID in 2020 was the beginning of a biological assault on the United States. 1 million people died, and there was no accounting, and there has been no accounting. And this administration cannot be allowed to go on. And no more can we listen to the propaganda-driven national media. Whatever you do, remain skeptical, remain as skeptical as you can possibly be, and clear-eyed, and understand they mean to send us nothing but disinformation. It's a psychological operation. It's psychological warfare, in fact, being waged by the left and much of the national media. Be aware, because we're going to be tested as never before. And I am one of those guys who believes strongly and to my soul that Americans are the last people anyone should want to mess with. We are still the United States of America. So I want to conclude by saying simply this. It's an honor to be with you. It is a big fight we have ahead of us. But remember this, what President Trump has sacrificed, all that he is sacrificing again to do one thing, to make sure the American way of life survives, this constitutional republic survives, and let me assure you, that is precisely what this election is all about. Thanks so much. I appreciate being with you. Thank you.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
John is an attorney. He's focused on all the issues that matter in this election year. And just want to get a sense, your sense first of all, you heard mine, what's your sense of what's going on right down this election in this country?
What's going on is, look, if Donald J. Trump doesn't win, get back in the White House, this country's done. And, you know, you see a concentration of forces, globalist forces, from the World Economic Forum to the American deep state, to corporate boardrooms, to media especially, that's simply trying to destroy the Constitution and destroy the Republic. And so if there's ever been a time that the presidential election matters, it's 2024.
No doubt about it. I want to ask you as an attorney, what you think of what's happened to this country. We're watching the 4 federal indictments. We're watching the persecution of a president like we have never seen before. And there seems to be almost a diffidence in the establishment, if not an approval of exactly what is happening. Give us your thoughts about why the legal profession itself is tolerating what is clearly an outrage against the Constitution and the law that they practice.
Yeah, and so, it's been part of the long march through the institutions that you mentioned a little bit earlier that's been going on for 30 or 40 or 50 years. And really, right now, you have a major institutional problem in law schools where, you have 95+% of people that are graduating that are liberals and are almost Marxists. Yeah. And so, every single major law firm, and I've been in a few as a partner, are filled with liberals. I'll give you one example that really kind of shines a light on it. I've represented probably 40 or 50 January 6th defendants at this point. And when I was a partner at some of the big AmLaw 100 law firms, they talk on and on about their pro bono programs and how important it is to represent, the downtrodden. Right. And so they're happy to go down to Gitmo to represent terrorists. But you have not had one single hour, so far as I know, of any major law firm that has helped a single January 6th defendant. And so it's really a problem.
Yeah, it really is. And John deserves great credit because what he's saying is exactly right. Big law, as it's called, the biggest corporate law firms in the country, not only are not bringing help to those who need it, bono or otherwise. It's absurd. They're actually ejecting and rejecting long-standing partners simply because of their political views, as if that would be a reason to remove a great lawyer from a great firm, but they're doing it almost across the board. It's a tragic moment. You went to Harvard Law School.
I did. I actually made the Harvard Law Review somehow. So
that's
I think it's
good.
because it was an anonymous competition.
Well, I know better, and I think about Alan Dershowitz, who I've talked with a number of times over my career and got to know. He actually, and he's an extraordinary left-winger, I guess is the best way to put it, but with an independent mind. And he talks about the clubs that are at Harvard Law. He spoke quite openly about Lincoln, I don't know if you know
the Lincoln Inn, I think, is one of the clubs, yeah.
And they're Marxist as they can be. And he said that there are 100 law schools now in which they are active and growing. And how are we to reverse this in this society? Because this is one of the parts, this is one of the pieces of this malignant puzzle that we're confronting right now.
Yeah, I think, and I have to say, when I graduated in 2000, it wasn't quite as apparent. Harvard Law School was an incredibly liberal place then, but it wasn't as brazen, it wasn't as hostile to the actual rule of law and to the Constitution. I think that the answer is just like we've seen earlier with, and I was commenting back there, you see all these great candidates coming up on the stage. Right. And I think that what you're seeing now, that people realize that our country is about to just fall apart. You're seeing lots and lots and lots of regular people who are legitimate, Constitution-loving Americans who are stepping up to run for offices at all levels, who wouldn't have even thought about it before. Right. And I think that we have to encourage, the Generation Z. I think you're seeing that they're really supporting President Trump now because otherwise they have no future. We've got to encourage, young patriotic people to go to law school and to get out there. And when they do, to fight for people like the January 6th defendants instead of just going to the big law firms.
Concluding question.
Yes, sir.
January 6th and all you're doing, let me say just as a citizen, I appreciate greatly what you're doing for those folks.
Thank you.
Your judgment about how we can extricate them from those prisons and from this mad Marxist judiciary and prosecution under the Department of Justice.
Yeah, so, and I've been yelling and screaming about this for some time. First and foremost, the most important thing at this point is that we have to get President Trump back in office so he can pardon every single one of these folks.
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing. I think, until that point, it is so important that the Republicans in Congress exercise and use their power of the purse. They have to shut down the government if they do not stop these political persecutions.
Well, we're going to get that test this week on the 8th. I appreciate it, John. Thanks for being with us,
Thank
and
you
thanks
so
for all
much.
that you're doing for the
I'm a
country.
huge fan. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to introduce Raven Siegenthaler. Is that correct?
Siegenthaler.
Siegenthaler. It was not correct. She is the head of teenagers for Trump all across Florida, and I want to congratulate you for what you're doing and say thank you and welcome to the revival.
Good to be here, sir.
So if you will, tell us what you're doing, what you and teenagers all across the state of Florida are doing.
Well, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but what we do here at the Teenage Republicans is we really look to give young conservatives a platform to voice their opinions. Because really, we do not get that opportunity anywhere else. In our schools, they try to censor us, they don't let us voice our opinions. They will mark off your grade if a teacher is biased enough and they don't agree with you. And so we work at the Teenage Republicans to give these conservatives a place to network, a place to put their opinion out there, and fight for what they believe in.
Well, good for you. Good for you. And I'm correct in this. You're 17 years old, correct?
I'm 17. I just turned 17 in February, yes.
I think there's some teachers in a lot of trouble, don't you? This is a strange thing because it's become also it's peer pressure as well. Mm-hmm. It is teachers who are Marxist Dems. They are teachers across the country. I can't speak specifically to Florida, but across the country, they're predominantly left-wing. Mm-hmm. They are Marxist Dems, and they're mean to have that impact. And your voice to counteract that is so important, and to give other teenagers a voice. Give us a sense of how important you think these teenagers are going to be as we progress toward November 5th, and how engaged will they be?
Well, I can promise you that my organization and everyone in it is going to be crucial in this election. Okay, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of teenagers turning 18, and they're ready to vote this year. I was talking to just a few the other day, and they're turning 18 and they want to get involved. They want to start running for office. But it's just so difficult for them because the adults in their lives, in their school systems, and I promise you we are the majority, but there is such an outspoken minority of leftist radicals that they feel that their opinion is wrong, that they can't voice it, or they'll face ostracization and isolation. And I just think my organization, we are working so hard to prevent that and show them that when they stand up, they will make a difference, because we will turn the tide in this election.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it so much. Thanks for being with us. Thank you. Thank you. All the best of luck. Thank you. James, come on out.
Okay, good.
This is a fellow I think you know. James Volpe, thanks for being with us, the founder of the Villagers for Trump.
No, I was one of the original organizers. David G., who kind of made this church happen, he was our first president. And one of the things we have the distinction of is having the first ever Trump Day dinner in the United States of America. And your production manager has a copy of the original program signed by President Trump in four places.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you so much. So let's turn to the club itself, because this is unique. There are Trump clubs around the country, but watching the energy here and the dedication, give us a sense of how things are going.
Okay, we started the club with 100 people. Mm-hmm. And David G. and I reached out for good speakers, and we had Nick Adams here. We had, I'm trying to think of a few of the other ones, I'm going back a long time. But we got the momentum going. And you know what you have here? You have people from all 50 states here.
Right.
And most of them are grassroots, America First people. So they are just excited to come to something like this. And we always put on good programs and everything like that. And the club grew. Before another club split off on it, we had over 5,000 members from starting with 100.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yes,
that is wonderful.
And in that program that I left with you, you'll see in the middle excerpts. How about an over 2,000 golf cart parade?
Now that sounds like a party.
How about President Trump actually tweeted which golf cart he liked the best?
You know, he's like that, isn't he? I mean,
Yes.
he gets engaged. He's interested in all of what is America, and every walk of life. He has an appeal that is, and I think it's interesting. People talk about his appeal to working people, but that is absolutely true, and it's unusual for the Republican Party to be led in that direction. But he is also, he has such wide appeal. I don't care whether you're a physicist or whether you are right now working at a drugstore and you're a teenager. He wants to know that everyone has the opportunity to move ahead.
I'll give you two stories to back
Sure.
that up. First time I met him, he was Donald Trump, and he just took an old golf course in Westchester County, where I'm from in New York, called Briar Hall, and he made Trump National there. So a friend of mine was a member at Wingfoot from him, and he was on the board of directors of a company from California. They brought me in. I'm a pretty good golfer, so I'd give him golf lessons, take him around. So we're sitting at Trump's course. We played Wingfoot first, now we're at Trump National. We're sitting at the table. Who comes in but Donald Trump? And he comes over to the table, and we go to get up. Don't you dare get up. He went to each one of the people, asked them what their hometown was,
Right.
and if he knew somebody there, he chatted to him about it. But he wouldn't let anybody get up. Now, the next time I met him was when I handed him that program down at his golf course in Palm Beach. Now, he didn't know this was happening. Good friend of mine's a charter member of both Mar-a-Lago and his club. Right. David Rosner's his name. So when Trump came in for the golf game, we had put the program on his chair. And on the front of it was a picture of him and Melania at the Lincoln Center. If you remember that, it was the day before the inauguration. So he picks it up and he's just gazing at it, you know? And my friend says, we're going up there now. And we go up there now. And he turns to me and he says, how the hell did you pull this off? Because they were all Lincoln Day dinners and Lincoln Reagan dinners.
Well,
but that's how he was. He was a people person.
That's who he is, and it's why you founded this club.
Yeah.
Helped found it.
Yeah.
And everyone here has been an important part of Villagers for Trump. And my thanks to you and to each and every one of you. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Good.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
We're back now, and thank you very much. We're joined now by Anthony Sabatini, and it's great to have you here.
Yes, good to be here, Lou.
I love that button,
You know that.
Trump 47.
We should all be wearing it. Counting the days.
You bet. And give us your sense of this president and how much it means, how much he means to this community, this organization, to you, and the country.
Well, there is no place in Florida that loves this country more than Sumter County. This is the most Republican, most amount of veterans, actually in the United States, is Sumter County. Active duty and present. I'm a captain of the Florida Army National Guard. I talk to our veterans every day, and I can tell you, they want somebody who respects the military, respects the flag, respects the country. And right now we have the opposite. So nothing could mean more. There's nothing that can mean more to this community than seeing Donald Trump back in the White House.
Well, you know, I think from every walk of life, we can agree with that statement. You mentioned the military. The military is beset with so many problems. and frankly, everything from recruiting to being stationed in the Middle East, 160 attacks on our troops there. Suddenly, Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense under Joe Biden, neither of them understands forced security and what it means. We're asking far too much of our military right now with far too few resources and a dwindling force. Our U.S. military right now, ladies and gentlemen, has fewer men and women in uniform than we did in the months leading up to December 7th, 1941. Think about that. It's incredible.
Crazy.
So what do you say to those veterans about their lives and their prospects and your communities?
Well, what I would tell them is although the administration of the White House doesn't care about them, the people of America do. And it's just a matter of time before we get Donald Trump back in the White House, restored America First foreign policy that's not going to waste the resources and the power and the time of our service members and futile things. You know, sending hundreds of billions of dollars of American aid and money to Ukraine is not an America First foreign policy. Yeah. It's not something we should be doing.
No, it's not. And if I may say, neither is positioning the 82nd Airborne and the 101st in the eastern flank of Europe as if we were going to put our boots on the ground. That shall not happen. Pray God. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Lou. Take care.
All the
God
very
bless.
best. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say again how much I've enjoyed being with you today, and I thank you. I said that we're going to do Q&A, but we're run out of time, and I apologize for that. I hope you've heard enough to have a sense of what the answers might have been. We're all united in one purpose, and that is saving this nation, making it great again, and always putting America first and putting President Trump back in the White House. God bless you all. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. God bless. If you've got some questions, I'd be glad to take them just on our time. Can we do that? Or have we reached unanimous? Yes, ma'am. Could we get a micro? Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for coming today.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, some loyal Republicans are telling us that they do not like President Donald Trump's personality. We love him, and they've said they will not vote for him for that reason only. It upsets us. As a person who knows him very well, what do you recommend that we tell them?
I'm struggling to hear you, and I apologize, but...
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Can everyone hear me? Okay.
It's okay.
Unfortunately, some loyal Republicans are saying that they do not like President Donald Trump's personality.
Yes.
We love him.
Yes, we do.
Right.
Yes, we do.
They don't like his personality, and we're wondering, and they say they won't vote for him. We want to know, since you know him very well, what do we tell them? Besides, are you nuts?
Well, I think what I would probably do is I'd ask them who they voted for in 2020. The second thing I would do is I'd say, how do you like the past 3 years in terms of economy, immigration, deadly drugs, sex trafficking, all of it inspired by this administration. Opening the border is the destruction of our sovereignty. It is a statement by this administration that you and all of our citizens and me, we don't matter to them. But what does matter is a war in Ukraine, a war against Russia that could have been stopped by this administration because they had all of the intelligence necessary to know what Putin would do. He had 200,000 troops on the eastern border of Ukraine. Biden knew. Tony Blinken knew. Jake Sullivan knew. but they don't have a triple-digit IQ among the bunch. And that's a fact. So I probably wouldn't get that vote because I really can't imagine how anyone could have lived through the last 3 years and not demanded that President Trump be restored to the White House. So, microphone, please. Whoop.
Who's next?
This, and then we'll go over.
Thank you so much for being here.
Well, my pleasure.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate your support. So here's my question. I don't know if it was in 2015 when Donald Trump came down that escalator that we all hear so much about. And there were many influential people like yourself that didn't like Donald Trump so much, right?
Yeah.
And Glenn Beck was one of them. There were others that, said there's no way that Donald Trump is going to be president. My question for you is, because you're obviously a wonderful supporter of President Trump for all the right reasons, what turned you around for your support for this man?
Okay, that's a great question. And by the way, whether it's Glenn Beck or whomever it may be, they've changed their mind. And everybody's got an opportunity to change their minds. And I truly believe we're going to see a lot of folks change their minds because the force of evidence. The first term of President Trump was spectacular in every way. He was the only one talking about international balance of payments. He was trying to balance the international system of payments and trade. And my gosh, academics were pulling their hair out because he wanted to put tariffs on the greatest offender of those imbalances, Communist China. He won that battle. And everyone said, oh, the economy will crash if you put up tariffs. Well, the economy prospered. And for the first time in 30 years, middle class working people and their families were enjoying higher wages, real wages, not adjusted for inflation, rising for the first time in 30 years. He did that. He built that. He restored the idea that we should actually be working in this country and manufacturing things, and we should be bringing back those outsourced jobs and offshored plants. He did that. He showed Xi Jinping what 57 missiles into a Syrian airport looks like. He did it over dinner. He is a strong and powerful leader. And you know what the left really hates about this man? He's smarter than they are. I have to tell you, I can't think of a single person in the Democrat Party who doesn't run from the idea of his superior intelligence. They want to talk about his instincts. They want to talk about his mean tweets. They want to do anything except to look at the evidence, the proven evidence from his first term as to what this man can do through his leadership. And if there is any Democrat or Republican who is not impressed by that, they are impervious. They are impervious to reason, to logic, and reality. It's that straightforward. I personally had the opportunity to get to see that mind at work and to see those policies developed. And he's a treasure that this country has squandered for 4 years because we were cheated out of his leadership. And next question, please. Thank you. You know, I'm going to do this. Can I do this?
All right, thank you. Well, come on down.
I'm part of the crowd myself.
2 more questions.
Yeah. How you doing? You know, I apologize for coming off that stage. I'd rather be with the people.
Hey, thank you for taking my question, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Dobbs. Let me ask you this, as someone in the know. Do you think the Democrats are actually going to attempt to drag Joe Biden's sorry carcass across the finish line? Or are they going to substitute him at the end? And if so, who do you think it's going to be that they'll pull out of mothballs?
Well, that's an interesting question. As to the part about the finish line, right now they're making noises like they mean to bring that that carcass across the line. We also know that Michelle Obama today disavowed any interest whatsoever in being president of the United States. I thought that was a very wise decision.
That was good of him. That was good of him.
Kamala Harris is making noises like she is just super ready to advance from just vice president to president. And with her powerful intellect, her God-given communication talent, and her extraordinary vocabulary.
A Jeffersonian-style stateswoman there.
She is indeed.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a good choice to make. This Democrat Party has to explain first, before they put anybody in there, including Biden, how is it that an entire political party put a man who was mentally impaired, cognitively impaired, compromised by foreign powers, corrupt as he can be, and a simple tool of the Marxist cabal that runs the Democrat Party? Why should any right-thinking American even consider anyone who votes Democrat and who is a Democrat on that ticket? Because if you vote Democrat, you're voting for a Marxist, mark my words.
Well, listen, don't sell him too short. Don't sell him too short. He raised the son that sat on the board of several large companies, all while smoking crack.
Well, I may make that oversight occasionally. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. All the best.
Let's step up a foot or two back and then face this way. We're getting a lot of whistling.
A lot of what?
Is he here?
Hi.
Thank you so much, Miss. Hang on. Turn. Face this way and talk close. We're getting a lot of whistling.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dobbs, for
Thank
being
you.
with us today.
Great to be with you.
You know that all the people in this audience are very strong supporters of Donald Trump. We want to do everything we can to help him return to the White House. One thing I'm perplexed about, and that is when we have seen him in the past, there have been times after the last term that he spent where there'd be a rolling list of all of his accomplishments when he was in the White House. And most of us haven't seen that in a long time. The Democrats don't have anything that compares to that at all. I would like to say that you've got an in probably more than most of us here. Okay. And we would love to see Donald Trump have that up there. Now, I realize it's not going to be as powerful as this message right here.
No, that's going to be a little hard to beat.
But when there's a chance for those accomplishments to be reviewed, because sometimes, sadly, Americans don't always remember the things that have been done for us in the past. Right. And sometimes we don't even remember the things that have been done to us in the past. And I think it'd be great if he could remind people of all those accomplishments.
Well, you know what? Shame on the national media, because they should be doing that. I mentioned the comparison with the two men on the border. It's an image that it's one of those things you can't unsee. I would urge everyone to talk to somebody and make sure that they are going to vote the right way. To your point, his accomplishments are going to take up a lot of space. You know what? I'm going to make sure that we're doing it on my shows, and we'll start there.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want you to take this with you. It has to deal with election integrity.
I love election integrity.
Okay,
Let's try some of it.
I'd be happy to talk to you. This is a process that we've developed. We're going to try to have this go nationwide. People can tune in to this QR code, they can get to a national database. It can take them ultimately to their local where they used to live, and they can find out if they're still registered and how to get their name off.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it
Thank you.
for all you're doing. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. I'm told we're out of time.
That's it. We're done.
Thanks for spending some of your time today with us. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen